So according to reports, some schools, particularly public primary and secondary schools, are in shambles in terms of infrastructure, teaching and learning. However, some alumni associations and other old school associations have been able to assist most of their schools. So we ask, should it be encouraged to support your alma mater? Joining us on the show is Professor of Psychology, Unilag Professor Olatunde Makanju. Welcome to the show, sir.
Welcome, sir.
You can call us on 070-806-6804. You can also tweet us at TVC. Can I please hashtag TVC so we can read your tweet? Definitely, it's always good to support your alma mater, to support where you've been, how you, the school, the facility you used growing up. But we've seen that a lot of people have actually just left and did not look back. Mm-hmm. As a professor, let me hear your thoughts and your experience on this, where you have students just totally forget to give back to the school that have actually shaped their lives.
Well, thank you for inviting me. Let me say that I find it despicable for anybody who has the means that you pass out of the school and you're called upon to come and help the school in development, in growing up, in being able to give what they gave to you in the past to current students, and you will say no. Honestly, unless you do not have the means, I cannot condone that kind of thing.
Means being, sir, financial or just, is there any other thing besides money you can give?
It's not just only money. You may be part of a pressure group. You may be part of, people going out to solicit. Yeah, you don't. It's not only money. It's not only money, because I have always been involved in, old student associations. I belong to 4.
Wow. And you participate effectively?
Effectively.
There's some of, okay, go ahead, Mary.
Okay, so for me, I feel it's a culture actually that is well practiced in Nigeria. A lot of people seem to give back to their schools. When I talk to a lot of my friends, they are doing like reunions, and then they are giving back, as a group if they are unable to do it individually. But I also noticed that it is mostly with private schools. Is there something that has been done to children that go through public schools that make them not to want to give back? Or is it that they just feel that they do not want to associate themselves with a place like that?
No, I don't think it's only private schools.
Okay.
Public schools are also involved. Yeah, public schools are involved, and I know. For example, the cap that I have on my head is to identify me with my colleagues from Ijebu Muslim College, Ijebu. I intentionally put this on today.
The green cap.
The green cap. Oh, even though it may not go with the blue, yeah, but I intentionally did that.
It's color block, sir.
Thank you. What we have been able to do is unbelievable.
What do you do exactly? What have has your alumni done for
the Muslim College?
Muslim College, yes.
The first step is to get a functional boarding house system in place.
Okay.
Build boarding house, rehabilitate old ones, because we know that being in the boarding house in those days helped us a lot. And nowadays, most schools don't have boarding houses. And I tell you one thing, as soon as the boarding house system in Muslim College they started running, all standards started improving. We provide classrooms.
Okay, I see obviously what you're doing, but we want to encourage Nigerians who, as you said, have the means to go back. But sometimes people just don't trust that the monies are properly utilized. From your own experience, how have you ensured that the monies you put together is actually used for exactly what you asked for it to be used for?
Well, we have a constitution, and we have in place our ESCO and means of verifying how much comes in. It's an open book.
There's audits annually.
Yeah, of course.
So I went to a school, a unity school, and it's tougher when it's not a private school. So there's sometimes some people willing to come together, and the other people were like, in my junior class, my class alone were about 99. That's one class of all the 6 different classes that we had in that year session. And there's a difficulty rallying. Imagine a reunion and I'm saying I'm Diamond and we're only 6 at a class that we should have about 800 of us in that set. How is it possible for one person to be the rallying point and successfully do it? How do you encourage other people to see your vision and buy into it as an ex-student?
Well, each student association should try as much as possible to let the public know what they are doing, publicize their activities. Because if people, there are some people, they are just like a dissicker. Not that they really don't want to do anything, but they can't be bothered. And there are some who believe that some are doing it, so let them do it. But the more you publicize your things, like my sister said, you organize reunions. And people see what they can gain also. Because as we are getting older, you know, we also need to move with people that we knew back in those days. And it helps us too. We help the school, we help ourselves, you know. And by helping the younger ones, especially the younger ones who are in school, because standards have dropped a lot, you know. And I tell you, right now, most schools that are doing very well have very, very valuable old student associations.
That's working.
Well, some people have said that it's difficult to come about this old school, people's association because many of their students are still what's the word? They're still working.
Finding their feet.
They're still finding their feet. They're still trying to get things together. You get to a certain age where you're retired or you have some time to yourself where you're comfortable. You go, okay, let me use my free time to participate. But right now, life is happening to many of us. We are trying to get life together. So trying to now focus on an alumni association, some organization, it's just so extra for us.
No, I tell you one thing, I don't agree with you.
Okay.
For example, my school, Muslim College Yabude, was 70 years old just last month.
Wow. 70.
But in actual fact, when did I, as an individual, started with the Old Student Association? If I look back, well over 30 years ago. And I guess maybe that would be about where you are now too.
Right.
Yes.
So, and then 30 years ago, I didn't have too much that I could contribute except, you know, go out and be, you know, the Man Friday. But today, thank God, you know, we can chip in. So, like I said, it's not only about money, even your time. For example, sometimes we reach out to even people outside Nigeria who have packages, computers, things like that, books, to give to school.
You're in Unilag, right? You're a professor in Unilag. Have you seen your association working at old Unilag, and all they know is fashion and entertainment?
That's
No, I'm just saying. Sorry, I do apologize for that.
They just get one number one.
Have they been effective? Have you seen
the
Unilag
alumni association?
Right.
The alumni association of Unilag? Wow. It's out of this world. It's out of this world. You go into the University of Lagos today, if you were the building that hosts one of the banks, I don't want to, give free advert, was built by the alumni association. Wow. Right now, there is another main building coming up, multi-billion.
Wow.
Yes.
Get money like that. You got money like that.
But
Even the
I've
ABU
had,
alumni, that's powerful as well.
Yes, I've had complaints from people saying that they usually don't like to get involved with all this alumni because when it's time to, pay dues and donate one or two things, some people who are not so well-to-do start feeling terrible. And the ones who are, always at the forefront giving are like targeted for other aside coming to beg. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Speaking French.
Okay. So people, it's as if you are exposing yourself to the group. And so some people just like to take a step back and yes.
So you have money, Abi.
You have money.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Right.
You see, the way I'll take it is that in anything you do in life, there will always be like
Pros
two
and
sides
cons,
at least, two sides at least. There will be those people like the ones you are describing. But as far as I'm concerned, you do not have to live up to the expectation of anybody. And as long as you build your own character in such a way that, I mean, if they are counting people who are well-to-do, I probably won't even rank among the first 5,000. But let me do the little bit that I can do. And when you come and you can do more than myself, I applaud you. I applaud you.
Yeah, exactly.
I learned from my learned father, Kule Shofola, is a senior lawyer as well, that you must have something that you must give back to. As a student back then, I used to go to his firm every time for grants, for support, for my association for the Nigerian Muslim law students, and every time I never left without a check. And he used to say to me, Nima, always have something to give back to. Somewhere you're doing something that you feel you're touching. And that's the only reason why I always had the check. And everybody thought she was just favored by him. Growing up now, I always feel that if I don't have something I'm doing, and I'm just living an empty life, but I determine what that thing would be. So that people would, of course, want to take advantage. Well, no, she's giving, and people would want to take advantage of that at every point in time. People would try to take advantage. You determine where your stand is, and you're clear with that intention.
Let me ask you the direct question, as in, how has being a member of your old school helped your own career connections, and how has maybe that connected encouraged others? Has it got connected?
In fact, that's a fantastic question. At a time, late 80s, my career had a little bit of stagnation. And my set, the 1962-68 set, now said, oh boy. So they now said, what exactly is the problem? I said, I think I need a secretary. You may not believe it. One of them provided me with a secretary. Was doing my typing. You know, in academics, it's about research, publications. And I tell you one thing, my career got a jump start. And that was it. So I'm just giving you one example. There's so many things. My friends, you know, have done so much for me. I've done so much for some others too. Right. It is a matter of one hand washing
come to
the
Mariam.
other.
Let me take this. Fantastic. Let me talk to Mariam. Moses. Thanks for calling. Moses, are you there?
Yeah, morning.
Go ahead, please.
Morning, Prof. Good to see you once again.
Good morning.
The issue on discussion, it's not just about having the old students association. The bottom line is, most of these schools have grants to maintain their structures. What you find out these days is that old student associations are so tasked with actually intervening in terms of the structure of the schools, vis-a-vis classrooms, laboratories, libraries, and etc. If the old student association comes in and they only see things like, okay, they can invest in their school pitches, their basketball courts, and extracurricular activities, not also excluding the laboratories and libraries, but a situation where they come, the whole structure is dilapidated and so bad, it becomes tasking on the association. And we also have to consider the fact that many of the members of the association, their feet are not so grounded, they are not so stable yet. So you will find out that at the end of the day, in a bunch of maybe like 100 old students, you only have like 10 who are actually so fortunate to be able to contribute effectively in affecting their own schools.
Thank you very much for your comments. Yes, Mariam.
So I think one of the major problems that is affecting us, we have this, especially in Nigeria, that culture of materialism, where if you feel that you do not have the money to give, you feel less than. So sometimes it's not about anybody making you feel bad, you make yourself feel bad. And so I know that when it comes to associations like that, when you don't feel like you're at par with your mates, you tend to step aside. But I remember the last reunion we had from my school, a teacher called us and she said, please talk to it's an all-girls school. She said, please talk to your younger ones. doing well in sciences, they do not want to do sciences. You know, everybody wants to go into entertainment and arts and things like that. Just tell them the importance of it. And I could see their face light up when we were talking to them, you know. Of course, they were first distracted by how we looked, and then they started having a conversation with us. So that is one. So I think people should learn that they can do that. Just even going to talk to the students there will boost their morale. But secondly, on the side of what you can gain from being an active alumni is when you hear schools like schools abroad like Harvard and Yale, they always say it in such a way that when you finish from there, your career is sort of guaranteed. I don't know if our own schools guarantees that sort of thing for, you know, for us. Or do you?
Have we reached that level?
Yeah, have we gotten to that stage?
Well, I can tell you, such opportunities do come in trickles too in Nigeria. Even as scarce as the jobs are, you can be sure that there are some employers who reach out to the universities specifically for, you know, high flyers every year.
Yes.
And people get employed.
Yeah, right.
So many.
Okay, let me take Abdulaziz and I'll come back to you. Abdulaziz, are you there?
Yeah.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I really appreciate the fact that you talked about the Old Students Association and the thing. It's something I wish to do when I go up to that level and I'm able to meet my other mates. For example, my dad is very active in his old secondary school association. Very, very active. Sometimes it takes it more than his work, and I'll be like, Mr. Rajiv, what are you doing? But wow, it's passion, it's love, it's encouraging. I've seen a lot of things they do, build buildings for the school, give out books, and give out scholarships for the students in the school where they came out from back years. I think it's something good.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Aziz. Thanks so much. Yes.
Sir, so you would agree with me that the quality of education you people had your time is different from what we have now. And aside from the fact that the alumni help with the infrastructure of the schools to make it look beautiful, give them hostels, are you people having like a committee to look into the curriculum, which in all the schools, aside from the very big private schools, are outdated? Is there any plan somewhere along the line that you people will start paying attention to the content that those kids have? Well,
that will not be part of our calling. You know, we can advise. But I'm not sure about your assumption, because I have not said that the standard of education.
No, I'm saying.
No, that's what I said.
Okay.
I will not agree.
Yes. Okay.
Because I know that I have been producing students. I've been teaching in the University of Lagos. Incidentally, next Tuesday, it will be exactly 45 years. And I can tell you, every single year, we produce very good students who go to Harvard, who go to Oxford, Cambridge. Yes. Okay. From our campuses.
There's an assumption that you're using outdated material. I'd like you to clear that up.
Yes.
That is where the problem is. Not really the content or the things that it is what we are using.
Can you use, excuse me, sir, can you use an outdated material to produce learners who are ready for the future? Is it possible?
We are. Can I tell you something? Okay. Most of the laboratory equipment that we used during my own time in the university in Nigeria, we were reading from books.
Okay.
We did not see. It was when I got to the University of Aberdeen, which is number 5 in Britain, that I saw some of this equipment for the first time.
Okay. How did that make you feel?
I've read about them. I knew how to manipulate them. And I tell you, within a few weeks, I was on top of the class.
Okay, so the issue, and I'm happy that she took us there. Many Nigerians feel that those we are churning out, they are not prepared for the 21st century.
At all.
So you're a professor of psychology. And are you telling me that the materials you've been teaching for 45 years is the same material you're using today. Is that correct?
No.
Oh, fantastic. So you have developed yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So you're using recent and modern materials
21st
to
century
teach.
materials?
May not be completely 21st,
Okay.
19th?
but definitely. We are now in 2020.
Yes.
Definitely, at least 2015.
Okay.
No, and I tell you one thing. And I
That's
tell you
good
one
enough.
thing. And I tell you one thing. There are many areas where they are up to par. 2020.
Okay, I am in school now, and like 99.9% of what we do, like, in fact, if you don't have a laptop, you can't be in class. Every single student has a laptop.
Yeah.
So you're constantly, and they're teaching us with slides, you know, everything. You send your report, your research paper to a software called Turnitin. It tells you if you are plagiarized and all that.
Exactly.
So is that available in
It is.
Unilag?
Oh yes, completely. Available.
Right.
I didn't know Nigerian students can afford
So
laptops.
it's important that you know these things, because we have this assumption that what our professors are teaching in universities are outdated.
We have students in our houses, so
Sorry?
You
We're not
see-
discussing the universities. We're actually discussing the
secondary
schools.
school.
Oh,
But no, apart from that, we should also realize that there are students and there are students.
That is a clap. Yes.
Who will do their work?
Exactly.
You know, it all depends on what type of students. Most of our students, and I say it with a sad heart, most of our students, they just want to move along and get a meal ticket.
Coasting is what we call it.
Coasting, thank you.
Yes.
And get a meal ticket. And if you allow them to cheat,
have a field day.
they will have a field day, and so on and so forth. But there are genuine students.
Yes.
And this.
Who
and
put in the work.
Oh, yeah. There are many of them. And so, and we must cater for all of them anyway. You know, there are students who really shock me sometimes. They give me things that are new to me. And I too rush back to go and check.
lovely. Oh my goodness, I feel bad around it now, because I really want us to. I'm enjoying this angle. Because we have to bring you back, because I would like you to talk on the educational system. So you're telling us, before you leave, you're telling us that our educational system is not as bad as we think. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
That is actually better than we think. That the curriculum is not as outdated as we think.
Yes.
Secondary school, university?
You can't talk
of
about
course, I mean, we can guess about secondary schools because they are the ones, the students are the ones.
They're coming to
coming over
universities.
to us.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I'm talking about percentages now.
Okay, I have to run off. So let me just figure out. So for the fact that people like Obiajilu and lots of us feel that those who are graduating, many of them are, what's that word we use? Is it empty heads, or there's a word, there's a phrase I use. They're not employable. Do you disagree with that argument?
I disagree.
Okay, so we'll bring it back. We'll bring it back.
Of labor.
I disagree.
Okay, we'll bring it back to thrash that. And I'm going to ask you that same question. We'll try to bring you back and we'll talk about the fact that. So you're saying that our graduates are employable. They should be employable.
They should be.
Fantastic. We're going to go.
They should be.
Unfortunately, our professor has opened a whole new chapter of conversation. So we're going to bring him back to complete this conversation. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.